Seeing sun and clouds out the door to start things off this morning in Montgomery. Starting to see that fog lift out of there in Troy, so conditions improving as we look at Pike County. And of course, Andalusia, lots of sunshine to start things off this morning as the buildings are lit up now that the sun is up in Covington County. Here's the latest visibility map. Still trying to see a little bit lower visibility in parts of Pike County up toward Bullitt County. Also along I-85 between Auburn and, say, LaGrange, Georgia, continuing with some patchy fog, so use caution if you head out the door and you're seeing some of that lower visibility this morning. Look at temperatures out the door, mid to low 70s for the most part, a couple upper 70s down toward the Wiregrass. We're currently at 73 in Montgomery, 76 though in Eufaula, 73 also in Selma, and seeing that number in Auburn. Heat advisory today for Perry, Dallas, Wilcox, Marengo, and Clark counties. We're expecting heat index values in West Alabama to be above 105 at points during today. So please use caution in the heat and humidity. That goes for all of us here across Central and South Alabama, as I am expecting heat index values to reach over 100 as we head toward 1, 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just not expected to be heat advisory criteria here in the river region. That's not the case, though. It is expected to be that way in West Alabama. Nothing significant on first alert radar. Later on today, I do expect more widely scattered showers and storms to form as that weather pattern we continue with this weekend continues as we move through this upcoming week. Here's what you can expect out the door this morning, though. Temperatures climbing 86 by noon up to 87 by 2. Highs today will top out in the low 90s, but as I showed you, heat index values will be in the triple digits. Let's walk through first alert by hour. You can see those showers and storms springing up later on today. This is 2 o'clock on our Monday. It's going to be widely scattered in nature, so some of us will contend with heavy downpours, lightning, gusting winds. Other people will contend with dry conditions, but that humidity staying high, and of course those temperatures being on the warm side. Heading toward your Tuesday, very similar setup. We'll see more afternoon scattered showers and storms forming, lingering into the early evening hours on Tuesday. And Wednesday, you guessed it, we repeat the process for the last day of July, as we are expecting more of this scattered thunderstorm activity for Wednesday. Now, as we move into Thursday and the weekend, we're expecting this pattern to finally change back to a typical summer pattern by Thursday, Friday, which will contend with heat, humidity, and those pop-up rain and storms. It's just going to be more scattered in nature to start the week and in the month. Muggy meter staying high, so unfortunately this is not going down anytime soon. So just be prepared as that humidity will be noticeable out the door. Tracking the tropics now, been a while since we've talked about potential tropical activity. And look at this, the National Hurricane Center is watching this cluster of showers and storms there in the Atlantic Ocean that's going to eventually transverse its way to places like Hispaniola, north of it, over toward the Bahamas. And this area shaded in orange, they're giving it a 50% of potential development over the next 7 days. So something we'll watch closely. Notice this does include the state of Florida, at least the peninsula of Florida there. So we'll see how this plays out over the next week. Here locally, here's our 7-day forecast. Scattered storms in the near term, isolated in the long term, heat and humidity across the board with afternoon highs warming back to the mid-90s by the end of next week. Judd and Bethany.
All right, Nick, thanks for the update. Coming up on 6:53 right now, time for our Morning Smile, a major accomplishment for a Troy University student.
Yeah, we want you to meet Miley Taylor. She graduated from Troy University's Terrell College of Business over the weekend. She's now the youngest student to ever graduate from the Risk Management and Insurance program there at just 19 years old. And she was a 2022 graduate of Charles Henderson High School. She hasn't taken a semester off of school since she started dual enrollment her 9th grade year. She had so many college credits, she was actually able to skip her junior year of high school and graduate from high school just 2 weeks after she turned 17. She must really enjoy
college
school.
grad at 19, that is impressive.
Just barely,
yes.
19.
Wow.
Yeah, so congratulations, Miley. And remember, you can share your picture or your video for our Morning Smile segment. Just upload that picture and information at WSFA.com/Morning Smile.
We'll wrap up today in Alabama. Our top stories coming up after this short break, so stay with us.
At DriveTime.com, we've been hard at work, and we finally did it.
Did you make it so I can finally see my real payments and shop at thousands of cars with no hit to my credit?
Wait, yes! Shop for cars online with no credit hit!
Look, there's a slidey thingy. I'm changing my own payments. I feel strong!
Go to DriveTime.com, get approved, shop real cars, customize your real terms with no credit hit.
We did it, Drive Time!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit at DriveTime.com.
At Amazon, we're obsessed with earning and maintaining customer trust. We work hard to make sure that it's easy for customers to leave honest reviews. At the same time, we want to make it hard for bad actors to take advantage of Amazon's trusted shopping experience. When a customer clicks Write Review, machine learning models immediately begin assessing the authenticity of the review based off thousands of data points stemming from over 25 years of review knowledge, helping inform the purchase decisions of millions of other customers around the world.
I'ma re-up my intro.
Alexa, start my morning routine.
Introducing. I'ma re-up my intro. Keep it moving. La, la.
Felt like something's in there. I guess not.
Now, this is WSFA 12 News, today in Alabama.
Welcome back. 6:56 right now. Right now, there's a desperate call for blood. Life South Community Blood Center is running dangerously low right now. In fact, too low to adequately supply our local hospital.
You know, Life South says its inventory of blood is the lowest it's seen in a long time. But summers always sees a drop in donations, but this summer's supply is particularly low. So Life South is calling on people, businesses, churches, anyone who can step up and make a donation. It only takes about 30 minutes. We've got more information about where you can find a blood drive. Just head over to WSFA.com.
News from Dallas County this morning. Selma's former interim fire chief was arrested. Franklin Edwards is charged with first-degree theft. The state fire marshal's office arrested him Friday, did not give any details. The charge is a felony, and if convicted, he could face anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison. Well, this adds to a list of legal troubles for Edwards. He was arrested back in 2020 for leaving the scene of a fatal accident. That case has been delayed several times and is currently set for a jury trial in March. Edwards continued working in the Selma Fire Department in the meantime, first as the captain, then named interim chief in 2022. The city council replaced him last month, but the city's website still lists him as the interim chief. Selma's mayor's office has not responded to our requests for comment. Well, if you like basketball and live in South Montgomery, hey, good news for you. There's a new court at Peter Crump Park, and we can thank City Councilor Arande Mitchell for making it happen.
He says he was inspired by a Facebook message from a 14-year-old who asked for a court that was within walking distance to his home. Mitchell's a teacher and sees the impact proper facilities can have on young people. So he hopes that this project will help keep kids on the court and off the streets.
Once we get them on the court, that's half the battle. Once we get them on the court, now we can talk about the rules. Now I'm able to coach them. Now I'm able to change the mindset of those individuals that we are seeing that's losing their lives or causing violence here in the city of Montgomery.
And this is not Councilman Mitchell's first project like this. He also helps facilitate courts at Dorchester Park and Virginia Estates Park.
Montgomery Public Schools gearing up for a big back-to-school bash is coming up Saturday, August 3rd at Garrett Coliseum. It's all about having a little fun before the school year starts August 8th. There will be food, activities, and entertainment for the students, as well as resources for the parents. It is from 3 to 6, and it is free to attend.
Right now, let's get you a check on the roadways as you get ready to head out the door. We're going to give you a live look outside. This is Interstate 65 at Fairview Avenue, where traffic seems to be moving smoothly this morning. Of course, we're watching the roads for you. Keep an eye on your WSFA 12 News app as you head out the door, because we'll let you know there if anything will slow you down.
Sun is shining right now, but will it stay that way for the rest of the day? Let's check in with meteorologist Nick Gutcher.
Hey, good morning. We're expecting a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day today, Judd, and we're expecting also more scattered showers and storms this afternoon. So your first alert weather app will be very handy if you have plans outdoors. We'll keep this pattern through the end of July, but welcoming in August, we're back to that typical summer with heat, humidity, and pop-up storms.
All right, Nick, that's going to do it for this morning's edition of Today in Alabama.
More local news in 30 minutes, but now we will send you off to the Today Show. Have a great Monday.
Thank you for joining us. You're watching Local News Live. I'm Brian Pierce.
And I'm Rashida Kaba. We hope you guys had a great weekend. Ryan, did you get into anything fun?
You know, got to watch the Olympics. That was a lot of fun. Saw some phenomenal play yesterday. The men's basketball team won. The soccer team won. Some impressive performances in fencing of all sports for the Americans. We'll get to that in a little bit. Went and saw a concert Saturday. Busy weekend. Saw Twisters Friday. I know we talked about it. How about yourself? I was booked and busy. How about yourself?
I finished moving into my apartment and I got my hair done.
Your hair looks great. I was going to mention that.
That's the only thing. I mean, that's the only thing that was on the list.
People don't
priorities.
People don't get.
Yeah, I hear you.
Spoke from Japan.
It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay.
Both China and Russia have sent Maduro congratulations. Lebanon's state-run news agency is reporting deadly Israeli drone strikes 2 days after a Lebanese attack killed 12 children in the Israel-controlled Golan Heights. Reporter Linda Gradstein from Jerusalem.
Lebanese rescue services said 2 people were killed and 3 wounded, including a child, although it was not clear if the dead were fighters or civilians. There are fears that the tensions could lead to an all-out war.
Those value meals aren't doing the trick.
Ain't there a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's?
This morning, Mickey D's reported it missed both second quarter earnings and revenue estimates. Profits were down 12%. Same-store sales fell for the first time since the pandemic. S&P futures up 23. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Train travel is expected to be back to normal in France after Friday's attack on high-speed lines that canceled or delayed tourists and athletes headed to the Summer Olympics.
Trains in France are filled with Americans during the Summer Games. Bjorn Bender is the CEO of Rail Europe, the biggest ticketing platform for train travel in Europe.
35% of our bookings into Paris are done by Americans. So every third booking on our platform, global platform, is done by an American.
He says overall train travel in Europe is up over last summer, and 45% of U.S. bookings are solo travelers. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Paris.
Blood tests for Alzheimer's may be on the way. The study in the Journal of the American Medical Association finds a cutting-edge test can accurately detect whether memory loss is caused by the disease with more than 90% accuracy. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans,
Everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Sometimes fortunate moments happen spontaneously. At HIMS, we know it's always better to be ready. And the best way to be ready anytime is to go to HIMS.com today. Because when you go to HIMS.com/radio, you'll find doctor-trusted ED treatments for less, with the same active ingredient as Cialis. Available in daily pills or chews, HIMS gives you that boost of confidence, knowing you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. To connect with a licensed medical provider, just go to HIMS.com. No in-person appointments or awkward conversations required. If prescription medication is right for you, it'll be shipped to your door for free. Starting at less than $2 a day, you can get an ED treatment prescribed 100% online, all for a fraction of the price of name brands. Get your confidence back with HIMS. Get started with a free 100% online consultation today at HIMS.com/radio. That's HIMS.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Prescriptions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Prescriptions require price varies based on product and
While on your way to work tomorrow morning, join Kevin Elkins for Decisions. News Radio 1440. Depend on it. Your WSFA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are just 50 cents each at Staples. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program. In-store only, offer ends 8/24, limit 10. Save big on back to school at Staples.
Mild and humid start to our Monday with some patchy fog will give way to a warm afternoon with humidity sticking around. Highs will be in the low 90s. Scattered rain and thunderstorms are again in the forecast today, lingering into tonight. Lows will be in the 70s. Tuesday, carbon copy of today. Scattered rain and storms, high in the 90s. Stay humid. Rain chances will become a bit more limited by mid to late week. And that's your First Alert forecast. I'm WSFA meteorologist Nick Gunter on News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch traffic brought to you by Sons Automotive. Family owned, family driven on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. Right now, things are looking pretty good. Got some fog in the low-lying areas, so please use caution there. Leave early, drive slowly. On the low beat. As far as accidents go, nothing's being reported by the authorities that would send anyone on an alternate route. So keep listening. We'll keep you posted. The lowest tax rates in Alabama are at McKinnon Toyota. They've got a great supply of companies and almost financing as low as 1.99% on selected Toyotas. It's worth the drive. McKinnon Toyota, exit 212 off I-65 in Clinton. Buckle up, it's the law for Montgomery Skywatch traffic. This is major delay.
Good morning, I'm Bethany Davis in the WSFA 12 newsroom. Selma's former interim fire chief is arrested. Franklin Edwards is charged with first-degree theft of property. It's a felony. If convicted, he could face anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison. This adds to a list of legal troubles for Edwards. He was arrested in 2020 for leaving the scene of a fatal accident. That case has been delayed several times. It's currently set for jury trial in March. A new form of transportation could be coming to Mobile. The city council there will consider a lease for Amtrak to pay the city $1 a year for 75 years for the right to use city-owned land next to the convention center for a new train platform and a side track. Many schools in our area go back to class next week. You need to make sure your students are up to date on their shots. The Alabama Department of Public Health just released a back-to-school immunization checklist to remind parents of the various vaccines that are required for school in all grades. I'm Bethany Davis in the newsroom.
Montgomery Men's Health exists for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At Montgomery Men's Health, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for years. Our friendly, discreet team of medical providers will take the time to listen. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 334-440-3663 or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Book your appointment now.
Hi, this is Mark Levine, and I've got an urgent message that can't wait. September 18th is coming, and with it, President Trump's sentencing. We're staring down this barrel again of potential market chaos. The question isn't if there's going to be a fallout, but how much. In times of instability, many smart investors turn to gold as part of diversification. And when I think of gold, I think of Advantage Gold. These folks are true partners in helping Americans find financial stability. Advantage Gold's experts understand the connection between politics and economics, and they can navigate you through these crazy times using gold to help shield your hard-earned wealth. So call my trusted friends at Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit. You wait until September 18th, it might be too late. 800-900-8000 for your free investment kit. Tell them Mark Levin sent you to see if you qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Telling it like it really is.
That's the fact, yeah!
It's the Dan Bongino Show. Weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440. Sometimes you need to reset, refocus on your day. The moment where you take a deep breath and change the focus from the problem to the problem solver. This is Decisions with Kevin Elkins.
And good morning, Montgomery, Alabama. It is a Monday morning. It's one more, just one, that you're on top of the ground and the ground's not on top of you. Good morning to you. I'm Kevin Elkins, and this is News Radio 1440. It's time to get up and look up and be thankful for the days ahead. It is time for our daily bread. A word from on high, something that'll change your perspective or give you a new one. Either way, it's good for the soul. Good morning to you. It is July the 29th, believe it or not, 2024. It is a day that has never been, and it is a day that shall never, ever come again. Today's daily bread is simply entitled The Unseen King. Our scripture insight today comes from Daniel 10 through 19 verse. Daniel 10 and 12 says, I have come in answer to your prayer. Govern yourselves accordingly. And again, it is July the 29th, 2024. It is a day that has never been, and it is a day that once it's gone, you shall never, ever see it again. It is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and once it's gone, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to come back and undo all the things that you've done this day that you shouldn't have, and you don't get a chance to come back to do the things that you didn't do that you should have. So either way, it's a one day that you'll never, ever see again. You don't get it back. You don't get a do-over. So do the best you can this day. But whatever it is that you do with this day, make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done with your time on this day. If you've been around a while, you've no doubt seen, heard many, many yesterdays. And if we are blessed and given the grace, the mercy, the love and charity of God, we may, I am not sure, But we may see some tomorrows. But if tomorrow should never be, then it is this day. That is the first day of the rest of our lives. What are we going to do with it? Well, do what you can, while you can, for whom you can. Because somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, somebody lent you a hand, a shoulder to cry on, a word of encouragement. You can do no less. How about doing that today for somebody? You never know what it'll take to make somebody's day. Make somebody keep going when they wanted to give up. The difference could be, and the answer could be you. Benjamin Elijah May said, whatever we do in life, we do it so well, no man living, no man dead, no man yet to be born can do it any better. And I say that is the standard by which you live life, you'll always be successful. Oh, you'll fail at a thing or two, we all do, but you won't be a failure until you quit. We say give out if you must, rest if you can, but you never quit. You never give up. Martin Luther King said, if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Don't ever give up. My mother said, nothing beats a failure but a try. One foot in front of the other. A journey of 1,000 miles, it starts with the first step. So you're not going to go anywhere until you make the first step. Don't give up. Don't ever quit. Because quitters will never win. And winners, oh, they may lose at some, but they never quit. So don't you. And no matter what happens this day, remember this. It's July the 29th. It is a great day, an outstanding, stupendous day to be alive. Good morning to you.
Hi there, and welcome to today's encouragement from Our Daily Bread. Our reading, titled The Unseen King, was written by Karen Fimpo. Pilgrim is a musical based on the Pilgrim's Progress, an allegory of the life of a believer in Jesus. In the story, all the unseen forces of the spiritual world are made visible to the audience. The character of the king, representing God, is present on stage for almost the entire show. He's dressed in white and actively blocks attacks from the enemy, tenderly holds those who are in pain, and nudges others to good works. Despite his indispensable role, the main human characters can't physically see the king, only the effects of what he does. Do we live as if the true king is active in our lives, even when we can't physically see him? In a time of need, the prophet Daniel received a vision from a heavenly messenger who'd been sent in direct response to his faithful prayers. The messenger explained that spiritual warfare had delayed his coming and angelic backup had to be dispatched. Daniel was reminded that even though he couldn't see God, he was surrounded by evidence of his care and attention. Do not be afraid. You are highly esteemed, the messenger encouraged him. At the end of Pilgrim, when the main character reaches heaven's door, after many tribulations, he joyfully cries out for the first time, I can see the King. Until we see him with our new eyes in heaven, we look for his action in our lives today. Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Daniel chapter 10, verses 10 through 19. A hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said, Daniel, you who are highly esteemed, consider carefully the words I am about to speak to you, and stand up, for I have now been sent to you. And when he said this to me, I stood up trembling. Then he continued, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people in the future, for the vision concerns a time yet to come. While he was saying this to me, I bowed with my face toward the ground and was speechless. Then one who looked like a man touched my lips, and I opened my mouth and began to speak. I said to the one standing before me, I am overcome with anguish because of the vision, my Lord, and I feel very weak. How can I, your servant, talk with you, my Lord? My strength is gone, and I can hardly breathe. Again, the one who looked like a man touched me and gave me strength. Do not be afraid, you who are highly esteemed, he said. Peace, be strong now, be strong. When he spoke to me, I was strengthened and said, Speak, my Lord, since you have given me strength. Let's pray. King Jesus, even when we can't see you, please help us remember that you are near. Help us hold tightly to you and seek your way in all we do. Thank you, Lord. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thanks for listening today. My name is Tony Collier, and today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
And of course, now we pay homage to all of our armed forces of the United States of America. Wow. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. And don't forget our local heroes, the Montgomery Police Department, the Montgomery, I think that the $10,000 thing would probably work to get some more policemen, but we'll talk about that another day. Also, Sheriff Department, Aaliyah, State Patrol, we call them that, old school. Instead, I don't know where that Aaliyah thing came from, but we're going to still call them Smokey, okay, like Smokey and the Bandit? Yeah, I got you. It's time to rise and shine this morning. Okay, if you can look up, then get up. Okay, today we're gonna have new caller day today. Okay, we hope to get at least a couple of them anyway. Okay, we hope to have at least a couple of new callers today. Somebody who I've never heard before on the air, because I need that every once in a while to continue my trek to talk show host history. Okay, I need to know that I'm affecting somebody out there, or not affecting you. Yeah, that goes out to the Maxwell and Gunner Air Force Base. It's on post this weekend, having a good time out there, looking at the PX and all that stuff. I got to stop going out there. Every time I go out there, I got to buy something. I don't even need it, but I did get me a Mac. I don't know why. It just looks cute. That's all. I just couldn't even figure out how to load the programs on it last night. But I'm working on it. I'll figure it out. And last but certainly not least, it is the United States Marine Corps, whose motto is Semper Fidelis. But the Marines had a hard time pronouncing that, so it is cut it short. Gave it like what, 3-syllable, Semper Fi. Okay, which means always faithful. The Army, we used to have something called an Army of One. We do more by 9 o'clock than most people do all day. I don't know why Army cannot keep a motto. Air Force has got aim high. Navy's got anchors away. Marines got Semper Fi. What the Army got? Come on, man. I'll come up with one myself. Yeah. We used to have all kind of Army of One. but the Marine has never changed there. The Air Force has never changed there. But the Army, we can't even keep one. I don't know. I'm waiting for a guest to come on. So let me see who this is on phone before I get busy this morning. Good morning. Who's this? I say you got a problem. Okay. All right then. I got some guests coming up. So I'm not trying to get into any substance there. But although we did have a couple more killings over the weekend, never stops, does it? Never, ever stop. Let's see now. We got the Aaliyah. We got U.S. Marshals. We got sheriff. We got city police. We got all of these people, and it doesn't stop. You know why it doesn't stop? You know why the killings don't stop? Because there's a lack of discipline in our world today, in our country today. We used to have discipline. We just don't have it because nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings. And I understand there was a young man, 16 years old. Nobody wants to hurt anybody's feeling in school. Oh, we can't put the wood on them because, well, we don't want to do that. That's tough. That's painful. Okay. Well, discipline will come in the most unusual ways. Okay. And we don't want we don't discipline them at home. We don't discipline them at school. So the only place they find discipline is in the streets and in jail. And so, we can't do it though. No. And the truth be told, you won't even hear anybody from school ever use the word. Tell me the last time you've heard somebody use the word discipline. Okay? You can't go any place without it. That's just what it is. That's what it is. You can't go any place without it. So and let's see who this is. And we are seeing we scared to hurt people's feelings nowadays. No judgment. Yeah, well, some of us need to be judged. Some of us will be, and some of us are. But at some point, somebody's going to recognize one of the most elementary things to survival in this life is discipline. Is the ability to follow instructions and understand the consequences if you don't. So, and that's in life, football games. You ever notice when the football team gets ran off the field sometimes, they said, where's the discipline at? They did not have what we call stick-to-itiveness in order to do their job. Yeah, they went running around the whole field trying to help everybody else rather than being attention to their own job. That's when football teams get ran off the field. Hey, good morning. Who's this? I'm doing fine. I ain't talking about Trump. I ain't talking about Trump right now. I don't care about Trump at the moment. I can't answer. I can't answer. I don't even want to answer. They're grown men. They do what they got to do. Okay. Well, listen. Whatever he wants to say. Yeah, I heard that too. Okay. Okay. Well, when a man tells you, wait a minute, when a man tells you he's gonna make you throw your gas stove away, and make you have an electric car, I mean, that's how dictatorship. Yeah, you can. That's big government telling you what you have to do. Okay. Well, listen. What I'm worried about is 16-year-old young men dying. I don't care about that. I'm talking about what right happening here in Montgomery. Let's talk about what's happening here in Montgomery. I don't. Because no, but I don't care. I don't. I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't care. Listen. Let me ask you something. When a man can take money, hold on. When a man can take money out your check before you get it, yeah, yes. Wait. When a, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I would say call me right back, but don't do it. Wait till next hour. Good morning. Who's this? Good morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And always will. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not hard to survive when you don't go anyplace. Although, wait a minute, they can come to your house now. So what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Hey, but I got the guy. I got a guest up here. I got the guy with the answers, all the answers to all the questions. Let me take this break, and we'll be back, and he's going to convince me of what the solution is. Okay. Well, he may not convince me, but he'll do it. But he'll give it his best shot. We'll be back right after these messages, and Dr. Saini. Okay, he's here. We're gonna talk about a little mental health things, and actually the way it looks in the world today. Hell, a lot of people got mental illness. We'll be back right after this, and I'm not even gonna take it light today. I'm gonna be compliant, and I got my other young friend with me, Anish. Okay, he's here too. So, okay, we'll be back right after these messages.
Alert weather forecast on News Radio 1440.
I'm gonna let y'all talk today. I ain't gonna say that.
Express Employment Professionals helps tens of thousands of people find jobs.
Well, school starts in a week and a half, don't it?
Find your next job with Express Employment.
Idiots go back to school.
ExpressPros.com to find your location.
How you
That's
been? Pretty good.
ExpressPros.com.
Although if we took the 12 years that we go to school, take 3 months out of those years, almost 3 months out. Anish. I got you. Saini.
That's not how it's spelled, but that's how you pronounce it.
No, Saini.
Makes it easy.
No, I don't need that. No. I ain't gonna write you a check in it.
So thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's an interesting
Skywatch traffic
subject.
brought to you by Sons
I
Automotive.
say we beat the hell out of them.
Family driven on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. Right now, things are looking good. Nothing's being reported by the authorities. I would send you on an alternate route. Traffic flow maps, there'll be backups or slowdowns.
Well, I'm just going to try to. So I'm just going to kind of summarize what we talked about last time, because we may have different listeners today than we did last time.
We do. At least got one or two.
So like very short, like 2-3 minute summary.
It's your time, right?
Actually, if you want to start by saying how you got interested in this, maybe you could start. And then I'll summarize what we talked about last time in just 2-3 minutes. And then I wanted to continue with that talk, if that's okay, with some of the things that we didn't talk about.
If you're a business owner and need help with your
You think it's important?
Okay.
That's why we talked about violence. And, I was looking in the news the last few months.
We need discipline.
Different shootings in Montgomery.
We need to put wood on some of these people's butt, and we can get rid of some of this.
Contact us today at cumulusboost.com.
But people say, that's abuse. What the hell they think get killed is?
Lots of parenting experience or none.
Amazing radical culture.
Do you believe in discipline, young man? The wood?
Yeah, I guess.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. It works every time it's tried.
Support children in Alabama. Go to Christian Services for Children in Alabama.
I believe in it. Although I'm willing, I'm glad I've only had to spank my kids. Got 2 boys. Twice in a row.
I love being part of Action Team. It helps
I smacked them both.
other people. It helps me
They just
feel good.
said something they hadn't been saying.
Go for it. Don't even hesitate.
For more than a decade, Major
And my
League
one
Baseball
was
players and
16.
action teams and
He thought he was grown.
have been working together.
But he didn't know that
to
Daddy
inspire the
Power.
next generation of volunteers.
He's taller than I am.
And realize how
Daddy
much
power
you
always
change
works.
Someone's life. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Just that simple act that
You got your coffee.
5 or 10 minutes of your
I
time
don't even like coffee.
is making
I
a
didn't drink
difference.
it.
It's transforming someone else's life.
All-star Giancarlo Stanton and Chris Capuano
It's
join
wet.
action team captains to make
Oh,
a
you still in
difference their
school?
community.
Yes, sir.
What's going to do? Black.
Just try it.
What
Just
go
go
up
to
here?
one event, one action team event.
What you gonna do then?
We all show up together.
Hopefully
That's what it's all about. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
You mean AI? You mean AI is not going to take your place?
They've been trying with AI.
So I think, as a matter of fact, I was reading an article yesterday. 40% of all the jobs in America right now, they are saying will be handled by AI in some way.
The problem with medicine is the AI will give you the correct answer, but it's not always the right answer because every patient's different. You have to customize it. And there could be 10 different ways to treat something, right? But it'll only give you the gold standard, which is maybe not going to work for that patient. So.
This message brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and this station. You see miracles all the time at our children's hospitals, but miracles never come easy. That's why, as great as children's hospitals are, they need our support to keep miracles happening. Put your money where the miracles are. Support your Children's Miracle Network Hospital.
You know we need policemen, you know.
Oh, yeah.
To be a policeman.
Okay. Spend time outdoors or have pets that go outside. You need to be
I was looking at your Facebook. I really love those quotations. I was like telling Anish, you need to go through this.
And most of them came from my own experiences in life.
Yeah, I mean that's how I really loved it. Going through your Facebook.
But common sense works all the time.
He's the voice of the conservative millennial. The Ben Shapiro Show, Monday night at 8 p.m. on News Radio 1440. Depend on it.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Now we have a guest. Now, listen, today we're going to talk about a subject I know that I stay away from most of the time, but I must admit, after careful thinking and consideration, that we do live in a world where it seems that our mental psyche is being, it's being changed or challenged by many of our environmental things. So today, he was here, what's that, week or 2 weeks ago? Remember that one?
Beginning of the month.
Okay.
Is this on or no?
Yeah, it's on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got Dr. Saini, which is you're psychologist, psychiatrist? Psychiatrist. What's the difference between psychologist and psychiatrist?
The psychiatrists are MD, so they prescribe medications and they can do therapies. The psychologists just do therapy.
So you can just give me some Thorazine and let me go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might take more than that for you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And we got Anish. He's a student at LAMP, and probably one of the better ones there. Actually, all of them over there are pretty good. And he is he's going to the 12th grade, but he's also studying or trying to study this discipline or whatever.
Yes, I'm trying to get into medicine. Correct.
Okay, and your intentions are to do what when you graduate?
I'm hoping to get into college pre-med and try to become a doctor. And I'm not really sure what subject or specialty right now, but definitely some type of specialty.
Okay, Dr. Saini, I poo-poo on most of the psychological things and psychiatry things. Anyway, so tell me why I should care.
Well, so our topic today is we're talking about violence in our community and how it impacts the development of mental health conditions. I guess the reason why we should care is because there's very strong data. Well, we should care about the mental health of our citizens, first of all, and our overall safety. So there's that issue. But there's also the fact that the violence is leading to the development of more mental health conditions. And when people develop those conditions, the people who then have those conditions are more likely to commit more violent crimes as well. So that's kind of what the data is showing. Very interesting. I'm not a specialist in data, by the way. I'm just a practicing psychiatrist who works here in Alabama, here in Montgomery. But I found it very interesting to review all the literature and to see that there are correlations. And then the literature, of course, talks about other factors other than violence that also lead to the development of mental health conditions and lead to increase in violence. And so that gives us some targets where maybe interventions can do legislation and things like that could possibly be directed. For example, poverty. Poverty is highly associated with increase in violent crime, unfortunately. There's various different theories for that. We're going to have some callers on this, but access to lethal means highly correlated with more violence. So you have people suffering from mental health conditions, or people that are just maybe just people who are just getting into arguments. but they're facilitated by the fact that they're carrying a gun on them. So instead of talking it out or maybe getting into a fist fight, they shoot at each other.
So it's more like the Napoleonic complex, though, where you're 5'3", but because you got a gun now you're 6'3".
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But that's environmental. That's environmental. Shall I say? What's the word I'm looking for here? It comes from the environment that you've grown up in, and things of that nature. Let me ask you, why is it that most psychological problems, at least from where I sit, are on the negative side of the quotation, as opposed, in other words, we have a mental illness that makes you do good?
Well, we're talking about violence here, and not all mental health conditions are highly associated with increase in violent behavior, but there are certain ones that are. And I don't look at mental health conditions as an abnormality necessarily, because people have the genes to develop all kinds of different conditions, and there can be some strengths to developing some of these conditions as well. So, for example, if I take bipolar disorder, okay, which is a mood condition where people suffer severe depression sometimes, and then they swing the other way, and they might get very, very hyper and stay up for days and days and take on all kinds of projects in the middle of the night when they should be sleeping, right? So when they're in those manic episodes, they might become more impulsive. So that is a mood condition, and it does cause suffering for them. But those people are also very, very creative, and some of the best writers in the world and artists in the world have had bipolar disorder, right? And because they experience those extremes in mood, they know what it feels like to be depressed or what it feels like to be manic, and they capture that in their poetry or in their art. So many famous writers, Edgar Allan Poe, Picasso, all these different, painters and things. So there's a paper actually that is the bipolar gene, the creativity gene, right?
It sounds to me, and again, I'm a novice, so I'm not nowhere near your credentials, but it sounds to me.
So there are advantages, in other words.
Well,
answering your question.
Yeah, it sounds to me we have people that would do a lot better if they were challenged mentally more, because that energy has to go someplace. And if you make me sit down in the classroom for 8 hours a day, looking like I'm crazy, and then you going over the same stuff and the same stuff and the same stuff, I would say that would cause me to be kind of manicky or kind of, I mean, shouldn't we challenge those people?
Well, again, I'm going to answer that by the data. So, I forgot to mention education earlier. That as another factor, but so many studies and papers out there about the correlation between education and less crime, less violent behavior. So children who stay in school longer, think about it, our brain is developing until the frontal lobe of our brain is developing until we're about 25 years old, a little bit older even. But we've arbitrarily decided that people are adults at 18 or 19 years old. In Alabama, it's 19, right? But people are really not that mature when they're 19 years old. And we know that. People in their young 20s are more experimental, they're more risk-taking. I don't know if on the radio talk about sexual, things like that. They do drugs more, things like that. And then when they reach about 25 or 26, they start calming down and thinking about maybe their career and getting married. And so, but when they're younger, they just kind of want to have a good time. And so certainly so what they've noticed is if you stay in school beyond high school, 21, 22, that's correlated with less involvement in crime, less involvement in violent crime. So there's a high correlation between education and staying out of, people who drop out of school how are they going to make a living? They tend to get into, drugs. They're selling drugs and things like that. And then that becomes some of that violent kind of culture, right?
School's fitting to start in a couple weeks. Sure. If Dr. Saini was in charge of the whole school system, he realizes that this is a problem. Whether it's here or coming later, it is a problem from a societal standpoint. What would be your plan to deal with some of this?
So I didn't come here necessarily to pretend like I have the solution to this, first of all. But we have some areas that we can target. I'm happy to see that the mayor's come up with some attempt to try to target some of this with his plan. I don't know if it's going to work or not. And if the listener is not aware, the $6 million that he's asking for to selectively, according to their study here in the city, it's 200 or 300 people that are propagating most of the violence here in the city, probably in gangs and things like that. I don't know the complete details of his plan. I didn't see that published, for easy access, but apparently this plan had worked in some other cities where you target those individuals and try to help them maybe socioeconomically, if they're in poverty, or help them with education and things like that. And that by targeting those people who are committing most of those crimes and sort of trying to bring them out of that environment or change them into a different environment, maybe you reduce the violence. And it has worked some in other cities. Whether or not it'll work here, what remains to be seen if he's able to, do that. I think that's a good start. But if you're asking in general, I mean, education is key. So, having the 50th education system in the country is probably not the right way to go. We're underfunding our public school system. And then are there targeted interventions for the community that's in poverty to try to help them in other ways? Maybe, if you have children, this, keeping your children engaged, like what you just said, keeping them not bored, engaged, and busy is how you keep them out of trouble. So, like this summer, my children are in summer programs. They're doing some reading, they're doing some math, they're swimming, they're different sports, and that way they're not saying I'm bored and I have nothing to do. And if they hang out with other kids that have nothing to do, well, that's where hey, can I take this pill, or let's smoke this weed, or whatever, So I think you have to keep them very busy to where they're pretty much tired at the end of the day and they're ready to go to sleep.
Sounds like basic training.
And they're learning. They're learning lots of things. My kids both learned how to swim this summer.
Okay. Unless you're 16 years old, your frontal lobe is still, still developing. So, do you think that 10 years from now your whole psyche will be different?
Probably, yeah. I mean, the data shows it, and I personally believe it. I feel like I would definitely be a different person from 10 years from now. It's a huge time. That's basically over half my life in the head. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then is all of this a waste of time since you're going to change anyway?
I mean, I don't think so, because I'm still learning experiences here that I would have for the rest of my life. So that's very important. And even if you make mistakes now, you can still learn from them. So it's still important to have these experiences, even if you change.
You're in Montgomery Public School. I know it's a LAMP and it feels like a private school, but it is a public school.
Yes, sir.
But it happens to be a public school with people who have, I would think, that have desires to be more than what you can see right now, which is why most of the kids are over there. Do you agree with Dr. Saney that education is the magic pill that for the most part takes care of all of our problems?
I think that education definitely plays a very huge role. As I agree with you that LAMP, there's a lot of kids, or most of the kids, want to be there to learn and try to become these different fields and go to college. And because of their drive to learn in school, it stays away from all these different negative things that could happen. For example, drugs or all those things. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
Now, one of the problems I have with our education system, we take the best and the brightest, such as Mr. Anish there, and we take them from this school, put them in this school where he's surrounded by people of like minds.
Right.
What we leave back are people, for whatever reason, often don't, except my son, of course, don't seem to subscribe to excellence, to doing whatever you can while you can, the best you can. So they're surrounded by people of like mind too.
Right.
So haven't we, as grown ups, sort of created this environment of those who have and those who have not, because all of our brains are pretty much the same. The only difference in our brains is our training, our environment. From what I'm saying. So is it a fact of lack of education, or the wrong type of education?
So what you just said, I 100% agree with. So most people actually from all different backgrounds, Mr. Khan from Khan Academy was able to show this, that from a young age, most kids, the majority of them have about the same capability, but it's what they are exposed to, how much training they get, how consistent their environment is, and that kind of thing. And I agree with you what you're saying about the school system here in Alabama. So if you take 150 of the best kids and you put them into a magnet school and you remove them out of the rest of the public schools, then you're not spending much money on the rest of the public schools, then what are you doing for the rest of those kids, right? And they're already don't have that much emphasis. Maybe they're growing up in a poverty environment or gangs and drugs and stuff like that. And then the school's going to get less funding because you took the best scorers out of the school. And unfortunately, schools are paid by their test scores and things, right? So that is a huge factor. I have mixed feelings about these magnet schools because of that. I mean, and here's one of my kids is in a magnet school here in Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of effort it took to get him into that magnet school, not everybody can do that. So we started him in school at 12 months old, paying private tuition, and so 3-4 years he was already in private school before kindergarten even came along. He also went to after school training to try to get him ahead of his grade level, because you have to test into magnet schools and they're expecting you to test a year ahead of your grade level. Now, let's say you have a child coming out of a poverty environment. Maybe their parents are not that educated. Around them are gangs and drugs and things like that. And the parents aren't putting that much emphasis on schooling, and they don't have the money to send their kids to private school. What's the chance that that child is going to then take an entrance exam to get into a magnet school and be able to compete against my child who went 4 years of school?
But my question would be, why do they have to? If the standard is the standard for all schools,
it's not, right?
It isn't. But that's a man-made environment. Because I'm telling you, even if we took the expectations up a couple of notches, everybody would still be better off.
We need to raise the level for all the schools in Alabama, right?
But it's easy.
But Montgomery Public Schools will be quick to tell you that this school doesn't discriminate, the magnet schools, because they'll say 1/3 of the school is African American, 1/3 is Asian, and 1/3 is Caucasian. So it's representing the population. That is true. That is the demographics of the school. But I would say it's probably families that are more well-to-do because they had the money to send their kids to private schools, prep schools, and prepare them. So that is the divide that you're talking about of the haves and the have-nots in town.
But explain to me how 1 + 1 = 2 matters when I go to a poorly funded school as opposed to a well-funded school. How does that change the actual fact of the matter?
Well, if it's a poorly funded school, are you going to necessarily get the best educational programs or the best teachers or the best opportunities? You go to Forest Avenue here in Montgomery, they have robotics club in elementary school. They have all kinds of advanced type of science type labs.
And of course, everybody's not going to want to go into.
Everybody has to go to that if you're going to Forest Avenue.
If you're going to Forest Avenue, so why not have a robotics in every class, in every school?
That costs money, right?
But I mean, we got $9 billion budget for an education system in Alabama. That's a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, and we pay 10%, and we pay 10% tax in Montgomery, so we have to question. I mean, I think the state will be quick to say our population is very small, which it is compared to other southern states. We have maybe 7 or 8 million, whatever, people in the state, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe half of them are taxpayers. Half of the people don't pay tax, right? So we have a huge indigent population that don't pay taxes. And so there's not a lot of money in the state. And then you look at Georgia or Florida, they've got 20 million taxpayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course they can do a lot more. And they'll also argue that's why Medicaid in those states is funded so much better than Alabama Medicaid, right? But okay, but you don't agree with any lottery, which would bring money into the education.
We agree with the lottery, but our state legislators work for somebody else. I don't know how they work for it, but they certainly don't work for us.
So we have no source of funding, and we're paying 10% tax in Montgomery, and still we have.
But again, though, the bottom line, 1 + 1, in most cases, = 2.
You get some good students that come out of poverty environments as well, but it's just more difficult. I happen to be a LAMP graduate as well. Okay, I went.
I'll hold that against you.
So I went to LAMP the first 3 years of its existence, right?
Okay.
At that time, it was at Sidney Lanier High School. Integrated.
Isn't it expectation of the environment that you're in? That if you can take the same teachers over at LAMP, put them in Percy Julian, put them in Carver, and you would get the same results.
Maybe. I mean, they'd be spread out quite a bit because right now what happens with LAMP students is every class they're taking is an AP class, right?
Okay, but
So they're
again,
they're
the
teaching it
standard,
basically at college level, right, in high school.
but if you are taught that the whole time, we're right now we expect these folks over here just to be there to be babysitted, and over here we expect you to do your best, even above your best. There's a guy named Dr. He did the vice of a third grade teacher. He said, if your best can be better, then it's not your best. And I'm just saying, I don't we got Martin Luther King, we got Benjamin Elijah Mays, we got W.E.B. Du Bois, we got all kind, Percy Julian, we got all kind of people who came up in worse conditions and a hell of a lot less money spending on them than we're spending now, and we still talking about money. I just don't know
money,
how
money
it's money.
Money is a huge part of,
But they didn't have it. They didn't have all that money. They didn't have all that money. I was coming up. We didn't have that kind of money spent on us. Isn't it expectation?
Yeah, but okay, if you have a whole huge part of the community that's not emphasizing education, right?
Well, therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Because
that's a factor. It's not just the school.
Right.
It's not just the school.
But the schools are taking the best and brightest and sipping them off to someplace else, like LAMP or Max. And now you leave people who don't know what excellence looks like. They heard about it. They haven't seen it.
Right.
Isn't our schools partly the problem for the situation we find ourselves in?
It is partly the problem, and it's also the socioeconomic environment that some of these people are growing up in, right?
Yeah, but a lot of famous people grew up in poor houses.
They do, but if they happen to be in areas that don't have a lot of services, then they don't get exposure, right? They don't even know that.
Well, they didn't have robotics back in the 20s and the 30s. I mean,
but I'm just saying, like, if you don't have very good educational programs in your area, then you may not even. It just doesn't become part of your culture that education is the way to go, right?
It would be if we introduced them to the word excellence.
Right.
There's a MA across whatever street school that is on Vaughan Road. It says the pursuit of excellence. We don't pursue excellence anymore unless it is in our highly rated magnet schools.
Yeah, I think we have to think outside the box a little bit of how we're going to get some money into the education system, because
$9 billion?
We spend so much money. I haven't compared that to other states to see how that compares to other states.
That's still a lot of money, no matter whose state it is.
I didn't know it was $9 billion.
$9 billion.
Yeah. So they maybe need some reforms too, right? And to look at where
we need to reform schools is what we need.
And where the money's going. But so if you think about, I have to say what the mayor's doing, what he's trying to do with this $6 million is thinking outside the box.
That's a waste of time. I already checked the states of some of these people, live-free people. They still got more shootings, more killing than everybody else.
They do, but supposedly there was some reduction.
Yeah, because you ain't there no more.
So the idea is, like, every time somebody is shot here in Montgomery or killed here in the Montgomery County, it's costing about $1 million to the state, right? To prosecute them, send them to prison, all that kind of stuff, house them in prison. So if we're having 70, 80 shootings a year in Montgomery County, that's 50 million, half a million to me.
That would be a low count.
Yeah, so at least $50 million going toward that, right? So is that $6 million better directed toward those smaller group of people that somehow elevate them out of poverty, get them educated, things like that? I understand that attempt. I think it's worth a try. And I think we need to come up with something like that for the public school system here, some way to better fund it or to better organize it, one or the other, right? So.
Oh, we'll be back. Sorry about that. I was so engaged in the conversation. I don't know. I think we need to put a foot in their butt and make them understand the consequences of their behavior, and they got to have expectations of excellence. If you don't have that,
the solution this state is having for everything is almost avoidance, right? Like, shift the best students out of that environment so they don't have to deal with it, and they can go to Harvard or whatever, right? And we can't solve the crime, so everybody just carry guns around.
Right. I agree with that. I don't know.
Many schools in our area go back to class next week. We need to make sure the students are up to date.
I know.
Back to school immunization checklist.
Let's see if I can find y'all a cup of some water.
You want some water?
News Radio 1440
So then maybe they need to
the home of Short
talk about how,
also on 95.1 HP3
so I missed it.
Montgomery, Alabama.
How you got into this. And
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The FDA has just approved a brand new, less invasive option for detecting colon cancer. Correspondent Kathy McCormick has our top story. This requires only a blood sample. It's called SHIELD, and it's the first blood test approved by the FDA as a primary screening option for colorectal cancer in those 45 and older who are at average risk. Though it's hoped to provide more convenient screening than a colonoscopy, the New York Times reports it has a poor record of finding precancerous growths, and removing those can prevent cancer. This morning, President Biden took the wraps off a plan to impose term limits on Supreme Court justices and an enforceable code of ethics. Constitutional scholar Stephen Rohde.
All federal judges on the circuit courts and on the district courts have ethical rules that bind them. The U.S. Supreme Court expects to police itself. Although they passed a code of conduct last November, it is voluntary.
The plan would also restrict presidential immunity. Mr. Biden's expected to reveal details at a stop in Texas today to mark the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. Iowa's 6-week abortion ban takes effect today. Christy Judkins with Iowa Right to Life says her group will push for an even tougher ban.
We're going to work with our pro-life partners to look at life at conception legislatively.
Iowa's previous rule allowed abortions up to 20 weeks of pregnancy. Northern California's Park Fire has now burned an area bigger than the size of L.A. This man's among as many as 10,000 who've been forced from their homes.
I tried to outrun it. I wouldn't have got burned if I wouldn't have rolled down the window and looked in the rearview mirror. I was right in the middle of it. I was trying to get it in reverse.
The man accused of setting the fire by pushing a flaming car down an embankment is scheduled for arraignment today. Not many people are lining up for those $5 meal deals. McDonald's has missed second quarter earnings and revenue estimates. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The reason is clear. Consumers have started to reduce the amount of money they spend in fast food restaurants because those prices have gone up by so much over the last few years.
A top U.S. gymnast is back. Correspondent Jamie Yukas is at the Olympics in Paris.
After a quick scare, 4-time gold medalist Simone Biles powered through a calf injury to go on and stun audiences, posting top scores ahead of the finals later this week.
U.S. women's basketball takes on Japan today. S&P futures up 31. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility, great pay, and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems. And if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
That was nice of you. Thank you.
Olympic organizers are apologizing for a controversial tablescape.
The apology is for anyone who was offended by a moment that evoked Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper during Friday's opening ceremony and provoked outrage by religious conservatives around the world. Some called it a drag queen parody. The organizers, however, are defending the concept.
And then if it's okay with you, he'll bring it back to me and I'll do 1 or 2
parallels of the ceremony, saying it was meant to celebrate diversity and pay tribute to feasting and French gastronomy. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Flash flooding disrupted
So you're from
Sunday at
Montgomery?
Dolly Parton's
Yeah, I
theme
grew up
park
here.
in Tennessee.
One of the first
5
Indian
inches of
families here.
rain fell on Pigeon Forge over a 2-hour period.
I went
collapsing
off
a
to medical
road at
school
the
and everything,
entrance to Dolly
and
Parton.
my parents live
Guests
here.
were forced to
And they're
wade
not
through
going to move.
rising
They've been here
waters to
since
reach their
1950s.
cars. Some
So,
of those
Oh,
cars quickly submerged.
you know, my
One
father
minor
came here
injury
before civil
reported.
rights. He
Mark
saw
is
civil
scheduled to
rights.
reopen
They didn't know
at
what to
noon
make of
Eastern
him. He was
today.
one of the few
Deborah
Indian people here in
Rodriguez,
Montgomery,
CBS News.
wearing a turban on his head. And so people
Well,
are
you know
they're
that
like,
you-
you're not white, you're not black, so you're black.
But you know what they used to call them, right?
Brown, I guess.
Yeah, man.
So he remembers not being able to go into restaurants and not being able to go to bathrooms and stuff, you know. Yeah.
So they didn't know.
And he was a professor for 55 years at Tuskegee University. So they just said you're black and you're hanging, you know, you're with all the black professors. So you can see where my belief in education came from, right? Tuskegee mission to try to educate people, right? And my father, he passed away a few months ago. You know, he was 90-something years old. But,
Yeah, really, you can save a ton, like it better.
like that's our family's been here before any other Indian families were here in Montgomery, really. And now there's a lot. There are a few thousand here in Montgomery now.
In 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE.
Things are better.
855-51-BIBLE.
Yet you still, it'll never get to the place where we want it because
It's a complex issue.
Right. Some people just want it easy, and
So my father, after 55 years of teaching, he said, you know, it's amazing because, you know, affirmative action was in place. I didn't bring that up in our talk, but so people who are considered a minority could get into colleges easier, right?
Yeah.
With lower test scores and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he said it's amazing. We only get 1 or 2 students out of Tuskegee every year that would go to medical school, right? But all the Ivy League schools would bring recruiters to Tuskegee because they're trying to fill their percentage, their quota of minorities, right? So where better to go than a concentrated area of minorities? So I mean, my father would say Harvard's here, Yale's here, Princeton. I went to Auburn, okay? I never saw Harvard or Yale or Princeton trying to recruit people at Auburn, right? So I had to go and try to get interviews.
so why?
And I went out of state because I didn't even get in Alabama.
But why psychiatry? There's so many other opportunities out there.
I just found it very interesting, you know, just why people develop these conditions and, you know, the impact it has on families and things like that. I just found it very And you see amazing things in psychiatry, by the way.
Before we get back to our guests this morning, Dr. Saini and Mr. Anish. Okay, he's my 16-year-old guest this morning. Let me tell you a little bit about COSA, the Council on Substance Abuse. It is Alcohol Awareness Month right now. Did you know 65 million people binge drink heavily? Now, it is Alcohol Awareness Month. This month is set aside to raise awareness for the dangers caused by alcohol. So we got all kind of problems. 29% of all traffic fatalities are caused by alcohol. Impaired drivers. Teen alcohol use kills nearly 5,000 people a year. That's more than all the illegal drugs combined. COSA, the Council on Substance Abuse, is bringing about an awareness to reduce the pain and suffering caused by alcohol. If you or someone that you know need help with alcohol abuse, please, there is help. COSA cares. Give the Council on Substance Abuse a call today, 334-262-1629. That's 334-262-1629. Or go to COSA, NCADD.org and get educated in the dangers of alcohol abuse. That's COSA, 334-262-1629. That's 262-1629. Get help right now. For a sober and a brighter future. It's never too late because COSA cares. That's one number I never had to call. Hope I don't. I don't know. May happen. I'm too old to be a drunk now. I'm just going to leave that alone. Anyway, our guest this morning is Dr. Saeed, who's a local psychiatrist. Yeah. And we got his, I guess you're not his student, but a young man who I guess you went to Commissioner Sankey, and you guys came up with an idea that it may be nice to talk about these issues. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so I'm a 16-year-old student at Lamp High School, and I'm currently a rising senior. So I was originally working with Mr. Sankey about some other project, and the commissioner expressed his concern about the mental health of his community and how he will continue to address this issue through education and access to mental health resources. And I also saw how community violence has increased in the past even 2 years. For example, last year we had one of the highest community violences, and this year we're on track to beat that. So I thought it would be very important to maybe organize some community talk or try to give awareness to the community through Mr. Elkins' radio station. And Dr. Steiny also expressed his concern and said he would love to come on and help spread more awareness. So,
So what is your desired outcome?
I believe anything that results in less violence is a good outcome.
Good paddling. I mean, that always helps out. Okay, so when you get out of school, what are you planning to do? If this is your last year coming up, so what's your goal?
I'm planning to get into some college and get on a pre-med track to hopefully become a doctor and help serve the community and help heal people.
Okay, mentally or physically? A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
Can't hurt.
Okay. And I didn't know, but the doctor here is from Montgomery. As a matter of fact, he left and came back.
Yeah, I was actually born in Tuskegee, believe it or not, and the house I was born in was right next to Lionel Richie, actually.
See,
on Richie Drive.
Yeah, he got out of town.
Actually, no, he was in Tuskegee for a long time. He moved, of course, to Beverly Hills and all that stuff, California. But he would come back to Tuskegee from time to time, and I actually saw him there probably about 20 years ago. He was still coming there, but he finally gave up his house there. And unfortunately, Tuskegee's deteriorated so much that many of the streets are not even being maintained. There are potholes, and so Lionel Richie Drive is full of potholes now. Almost every house on that street is abandoned.
Wow.
And our house, we were renting it, but it caught fire, unfortunately. So, and it's half burnt down. So, and it's amazing because our house sits on 10 acres of land. And the insurance company said it's worth about $50,000. That's it. 10 acres of land on Tuskegee Lake, overlooking the lake, a house that would cost $500,000 to build.
I think they were trying to screw you, glue you, and tattoo.
No, they said that's the property value in Tuskegee because nobody's going to buy property here or buy houses here, right? So I feel like somebody needs to come in Tuskegee and buy all that land up and make it into resort areas so they can, that would revitalize Tuskegee, right?
You have
lake,
Johnny
there.
Ford did not leave a legacy there with the price of everything else. Okay. I guess when the casino left, that's what happened.
But imagine if somebody opened up resorts along that lake, right? And people started going there like they go to Lake Martin, right? And then whoever, it would take a billionaire, right? They'd have to buy up all that land, develop it, and then make restaurants and things. That would bring some life and some jobs back to Tuskegee, right? I mean, I can't imagine anywhere else in the United States where there's a lake sitting there and lakefront property is only worth $50,000 for 10 acres. Right?
Yeah.
My father, when the house burnt like that, he said, I can't rebuild it because it would cost $500,000 to rebuild the house, right?
And all of a sudden,
all they gave him was $50,000. And Lionel Richie's house is just sitting there abandoned. He's not selling it. He's not doing anything. It's just sitting there.
Well,
like many houses in Tuskegee, right?
Yeah. Anyway, you went away to school. What school did you go to?
So I went to Sidney Lanier High School, and I was in the LAMP program. Oh, after Auburn University after that. Yeah.
So you just couldn't get away from Alabama.
I wanted to stay here. My parents live in Montgomery, so I wanted to be near them. And then after that, I went to a school called Nova Southeastern for medical school, which is in Florida. And then for residency, I did all my residency training at Medical College of Georgia. So I stayed in the Southeast near my parents, so I could visit them often. They were elderly, and my father recently passed a few months ago in his 90s. So my mother's still here.
Let me call here and see who's there. Good morning on there.
Hello. Okay. That would be phobias, and so phobia is a type of anxiety condition. It's usually developed. It could be that a person just has it, but it could also be developed through trauma. So, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I was walking down the street one time here in Montgomery, downtown actually, and there was a raging thunderstorm with lightning bolts flying in the sky and everything. And just by chance, a lightning bolt struck a telephone pole right next to where I was standing. Didn't hit me, but it hit the telephone pole. And the power went out on the street. And after that, I had a phobia of lightning. And I had a hard time, if it was a very bad storm outside, I had a hard time going out in the rain. I would just and if there were loud thunder or loud lightning, I would literally like drop to my knees. I couldn't go outside for a while. But I conquered that through exposure. That's how you conquer most phobias. You just keep exposing yourself to it little by little until it no longer provokes anxiety in you. So what happens with phobia? Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry. To lie about your status in life? What do you mean by that? Oh, that's why you asked this question. So yeah, phobias are anxiety, and they're produced in some way. Some people, I didn't mention this earlier, so I made it sound like mental health issues are caused by violence. That's not the case. Some people develop mental health issues through trauma, so they were traumatized in some way. Like if he was in the military, he may have experienced some trauma, which led to some of these phobias, right? Oh, okay, well. So, and then the 10. Yeah, we're not here to address that on this show. I'm trying to answer your question though. Your question is about phobias. So people often have the genes which make it more likely for them to develop an anxiety condition or depression or a mental health condition. What brings the condition out is how much stress or trauma a person goes through in their life. And we can't judge people for developing a mental health condition because for everybody it's different what stress will bring it out. I'll give you an example. I'm a child psychiatrist as well. So one time I was responding to the emergency room and I saw a girl down in the emergency room who was 11 or maybe 11 years old, and she had made a suicide attempt, okay? And every one of her family members were in the ER and they were angry at her for making that suicide attempt because they were saying she's in a wealthy family, her parents didn't get divorced, she goes to private school, she gets everything she wants, so she has no reason to be depressed and suicidal. And I asked the girl, why did you make a suicide attempt? She said, because she developed some acne on her face and it was making her feel bad about herself. Now, as a layperson, you would laugh at that and go, that's not a reason. But then when I interviewed the family, there were like 5 or 6 family members that had depression in the family. So what's going on? And then this girl had high anxiety from a young age, like 3, 4, 5 years old. And now she's hitting puberty and she's developing depression, right? So what's going on is she's chemically making low levels of certain mood chemicals. It's just in her genes. It's running in the family. And her family are not understanding what depression is. They're judging that, okay, she has a pimple on her face, and so that doesn't make sense why you would make a suicide attempt. Well, it's genetic, right? She had that tendency to develop a mood condition, and she's developed it. So what stressor is going to make her get suicidal is different than the stressor that we would necessarily get like that. So the important thing is to treat her, right? And so that she's not doing that and she's not feeling like that. So people develop phobias from all kinds of different things. I don't have any disrespect for military vets. So military vets, whether they're combat vets or not, if they're deployed especially, and I'm not talking about Mr. Elkins, I want to direct it away from Mr. Elkins, but I see so many vets who were deployed to combat regions. I worked at the VA for many years as well, just trying to serve military vets, and maybe they were a cook or something, but they were deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq, and they were just a cook there. They were not fighting, but just being in a combat zone heightens your awareness. Maybe people are attacking the base sometimes. They're trying to get through the gate, or they're launching mortars at the base, and you have to bunker down. That heightened state of anxiety for 10 or 11 month deployment or whatever can cause you to develop an anxiety condition. And I would see some of these vets come back. They now have anxiety problems, and they were never in combat, right? These are PTSD-like symptoms. Now, the military's gotten really strict about what they want to call PTSD and what they don't want. They really want to call it for people who are in combat and things like that, and more severe cases. But So us psychiatrists don't care about that. We just want to treat people. So we're just going to say they've got anxiety related to trauma that they experienced in the military and treat it, right? They're still going to get service connected because it occurred to them while they were in the military.
Hey, good morning. Who's this?
Who's that directed toward? Okay, so for me, I guess. Um, so I want to mention I was mentioning to Mr. Elkins when we were off air that my father was a college professor for Tuskegee University for 55 years. So a lot of people in the Montgomery area might know a different Dr. Saney from this area. But anyway, so talking to my father growing up as a child, he was a very big supporter of affirmative action. And the reason why he was a supporter of that is because he came to this country in the 50s and he saw discrimination before the civil rights movement. And he also saw how there weren't as many opportunities for African American people to get an education. And that was the mission of Tuskegee, to try to educate minority population and give them opportunities then to elevate themselves out of poverty and into a different lifestyle. And try to help bring the community up. And he did that for many years. And if our listeners are not familiar with affirmative action was the idea that schools should accept a percentage of the population equal to the population. So if you take UAB Medical School, for example, they would have to accept 25 or 30% minorities, mostly African American, right? But that would include Hispanics and American Indians as well. So they have to fill the class with that percentage. And if they can't find students from Alabama, has to be from Alabama, that meet that criteria and can meet the test score requirements, then they lower the test scores in order to allow them to get in. And a lot of people would argue, mostly Caucasian people, but they would argue that they don't agree with affirmative action because that's the quality of doctors you're going to get. My father's counter argument to that would be, how many of those people are going to come out of medical school and go move to Tuskegee and serve the Tuskegee area, right? And test scores have not shown to correlate with how good of a doctor necessarily that you're going to be, as long as you're smart enough to get through medical school. Like everybody who gets in through affirmative action still meets a decent test score to get in. It has pretty good grades. You don't have to be the top of the class necessarily to be a good family practice doctor or to be a good psychiatrist or whatever. So my father was very supportive of that. Now, that was done away with recently, after many, many years of people pushing to try to do away with it.
And you probably find, I'm glad they did away with it. And my reason is not that it didn't do any good, but then it opened up a whole new string of questions. Am I there because I happen to be black and they just want to let a brother in the door? Or am I there because I met the standard? Yeah.
So I will agree with you. It wasn't working, unfortunately, and it's really sad that it wasn't working. And my father, he passed away a few months ago at 93. And the last couple of conversations I had with him about his history of teaching at Tuskegee, he said it was sad that a lot of people didn't take advantage of affirmative action. And every year, only 1 or 2 students would go to medical school, even though they could get in easier. And then I can tell you my experience going to medical school. There were about 50 minority students out of 150 in our class, so about a third of the class. Most of them were African American. They borrowed $100,000 for the first year to go to school, maybe 150,000, right? And almost all of them dropped out after the first 6 months. So now they have these federal student loans that they can never get out of. You can declare bankruptcy, you still can't get out of federal student loans, and they have to pay that back for the rest of their life. So after 6 months, only 2 of those students were left in my class because they had been given an easier path to getting into medical school. But once they got to medical school, no more favoritism. You got to perform just like everybody else. And now you're in competition against everybody's a valedictorian of their school, the best students of the best, right? And so they couldn't, I mean, they have to take gross anatomy, which is like memorizing every nerve and artery and vein. They just can't do it.
I wouldn't have been in that class.
These students do not know how to, and they don't know how to study at that level, right? Till midnight every day.
Good morning, who's this?
Why is everybody focused on Kevin?
Because they have envy. Okay, this ain't the Trump questionnaire, though. Let's move on to something else. Good morning, you're on the air. Salute. And with that, my friend, I got to take a break. It is 8:28. We'll be right back. Our guest this morning is Dr. Sandy, and this last student here want to change the world.
I was going to agree. I was going to maybe this, and I do agree that that's a very huge debate. You know, and out of that lifestyle.
I just don't think money
out of that lifestyle.
Access, poverty. I mean,
it's not just poverty, but that lifestyle, that culture.
But that's culture I came up with. I mean, it's just.
You came up in not projects of McGregor?
Not projects, but you know, so 8 of us at home, and you know, some days we had mixed meals, some days we had no milk, some days we had oatmeal. I mean, it just, you do what you have to do when you find yourself in some situation. we can use all the excuses in the world for failure. You know, well, my mother wasn't there, my dad wasn't there. But, yes, but on the other side of that, there are people who've been poor. Um, Matter of fact, being poor should motivate you because you know what it feels like. You want to stay there. But we have a tendency in today's society is to blame their position for their position. Okay, human beings are the only species on God's earth that can change this situation and change it. I agree with you. When you take the movie, or any of but what happens is the first generation, see, like if people have this impression that they can't switch person, you know, okay, exactly. But the people who come here are the most right? And then they come here and they realize these people in school, if you get student loans, as long as you get in, you have an opportunity here. Even if you're not, you know, right? The problem is the people who are living in these projects here, if you have some money, but here's what you see it. My son does not want to. He doesn't want to do his homework. Right? And we have to force him to do his homework. He's at First Avenue, and he's making straight A's in a magnet school, but only because we're pushing him. He wants to play video games and he wants to go outside. Yeah, and I think that's what parents want to do. But at some point, you think they're not doing that. At some point, he has. Instead, you're going outside your front door. We live in a house with two bedrooms, right? They're all crowded and they have no opportunities. They're kind of for everything. You go out their front door and there's people openly on the street doing drugs and selling drugs and part of gangs. So if you're a little kid, my cousin's part of that gang. I think I'm gonna become a gang member too. I'm gonna be a big man, right? I'm gonna get some gold chains, right? So they're gonna do the same thing. And so a few come out of there, right? But not the majority. But logic and reason is something that we do not teach people anymore. It is reasonable to want those things. Right? But it is not logical to think that you can get it by doing things that go against the societal standard. At least if you have a ability to think. No, the societal standard is but we all make choices. We all can choose. I can choose that. Well, I just have to. That's how you get out of that. Yeah, I didn't want to get shot. A lot of people kind of get out of that. Yeah, but there's an opportunity to do something else. Okay, how about the transgender crap? That is the biggest thing I've ever seen. I would agree that I'm not a Democrat. But I would agree that the main part is a small percentage of the population, and you're putting so much emphasis on that. You're giving them rights that. And I understand why conservatives are against that because like my taxpayer money funding Medicaid and Medicare is going to pay for things. We've done it in the military. One guy, he wanted to call Joan rather than John. Yeah, and now they're teenagers. Right. Before they and now they're saying myself and committing suicide because they made you can't even drive a car. You don't even know if an 11-year-old let you let an 11-year-old at 11 years old. Have you not done that? Yeah. And then your taxpayer money pays for it. There are other things we can spend our taxpayer money on. Okay, we are back. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody. We're just talking about not mental illnesses today, but mental position, I guess is what you want to call it. Dr. Saini is with us, and it's a friend, it's a senior doctor. Now we get the medical stuff. I'm still here, and I'm still highly definitely thinking that too. Now, I'm not dying, so don't worry about it. I'm still here with you. Anyway, so who's going to start back? Mr. Anish is the student from LAM. Where they used to be a limit. Yeah. I do believe that there's certain things out there that don't need to be in a room with me. We got people that are extremely right. And all I would use the avatar. Right. I understand we need a school like that. But there's just some people who are willing naturally or they're motivated to live it better. I do that. But you cannot tell me that we need to leave language schools because what we've done, we took the GPA down to 2.5. We can't get into magnet school with a 2.5. I mean, if we can breathe, you ought to be able to get a 2.5. It makes us, and we lowered the standard, and now we diluted what the magnet school initially school. Okay? Okay. I mean, I'm just as close to the floor as I am the top. I can do that now.
I want to clarify that caller that I wasn't necessarily saying total solution for everything. And I do agree that this issue is very tough. Their family's not happy. There are people who come at this, who come to others, you know, the problem is they're not exposed to the movement. They're, you know, they don't have anything else to see. With the kids, yeah, I know. Good morning in there. How are you doing? Yes, they asked. I'm a mom. Throw that out there because I can understand arguments both ways, and I don't usually agree with the opinions of their own. No, and it doesn't matter what the political party is. I try to, or their religion, or their. Yeah, I should have summarized some of the data that we talked about. If you remember, I was on the radio here at the beginning of that. So, study, you know, I tried to do that. Definitely, when you live in a community with a lot of violence, and you're exposed to food and shooting, that can lead to PTSD. Actually, I'm treating a patient right now that with thermal PTSD. So, but then there's also just the high anxiety of living in a violent community and knowing that you live in a violent community and that daily stress and anxiety of that violence. And everybody in Montgomery is living in that, right? And so the studies actually show that that has an even bigger impact on the community than just the direct violence. But what I mean by that, if you live in a perceived violent community, people tend to not go out of their houses, right? So they're afraid to go places. And that constant stress on them. Remember, I was explaining to you that most of these groups, mental health conditions have a genetic, origin to them, tendency to develop these conditions within our genes. It's true for PTSD as well. People have the genes to develop these conditions. Some people get exposed to combat military and they don't develop PTSD. Others do. Who's going to develop those new conditions? To some extent, is our genes. And then how much trauma will. But there are going to be people in the community who develop because they're nervous all the time. And then they change their behavior. They isolate, The studies have shown that there's a very strong correlation. We need to get this far. I was looking before I came here just in the news because I had heard about a couple of shootings here in Montgomery this month and last month. And there's at least 7 of them news this month and last month. You know, that party that was down by the river, or like 1,000 people were down by the river, and somebody opened fire on 350 rounds.
You know that.
That was a mass shooting. Luckily, nobody died. 11 people injured, but nobody died. Yeah, and the mayor spoke out on that, but we were very lucky that mass shooting didn't result in mass death. So,
That kind of, yeah. All right, hey, appreciate it, Steve. Let me grab this call right quick. Good morning on there. Mm-hmm. Right. And here's my question. Why? Why is it? Why to have this thing level in all schools?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to break it up.
Yeah, why not in all schools? Mm. Mm. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to agree with the caller here that not everybody's going to thrive in that environment because it's so intense. And my son's at Fourth Avenue right now. They time his test to try to, 5 minutes to do 100 math problems. So it's very, very intense. And they have he has 2 hours of homework every day, in elementary school, right? So it's not for everybody, but they need to raise the standard to a good standard in all the schools. Right? Now, somebody sent me a text that if you're the top dog in class today, but tomorrow somebody else surpasses you, then the standard of excellence changes because And you used to be excellent. Isn't excellence a pursuit? It is a journey and not necessarily a destination. Because there's always going to be somebody who knows more than you. There's always going to be somebody who's really something out there. But at least try the journey.
Do the best that you can.
Right.
Not necessarily try to. If you're not trying your best, then you're not.
Good morning on there.
Yeah, so again, I agree with really about the expectation that you have in one that yeah, I agree with that sometimes there isn't a question, but you can see that if someone goes to the expectation is to maintain their grade and trying to try to go to college compared to other schools where the expectation is much lower. And I agree.
I appreciate it. I guess, what do we, is there anything that you feel, any improvements in the psychology of our kids to change? I still believe if you can change people's attitude, you can change their environment. How does your profession do?
So if you can get your children to counseling, and you can, meeting a psychiatrist, but half, more than half of them, in the sense that you can helping them with their behaviors, helping them with learning, and so getting them in with a psychologist or other type of therapist, different than some of the conflicts that we have as well. I wanted to mention also that education is not the only factor that can make a difference in the violence in the community. Uh, there are many other areas that can possibly be helped. For example, we can look at access to convenience for mental health and very strong people being facilitated with preparing for weapons. I want to mention I understand the women and I understand the origin of this country and I have to do not only honor myself, that unsecured chemicals are unknown to their children. Much of I'm a very responsible donor. I keep ammunition locked up, I keep guns locked up, I keep trigger locks and everything.
You do keep cooking.
No, not anyone. I can't. No. So, and actually, studies have shown that when people do try to defend that, people are breaking into their mentality.
This is why you don't have.
I know you were going to say that, but this is not. We think that, right? Right. This is not. What is that when you pull a gun out on somebody who's breaking into your house, and I know what you're going to say on this, but you now escalate it to a them that, right? Whereas before, you could have just said, take what you want, leave us alone, and maybe they would steal your stuff in your house, right? But when people pull out guns on somebody who's breaking into the house, it becomes a gun battle, right? More often than not, the homeowner gets shot. And so, unless you're going to range regularly and you're very good at shooting, it's not very easy. Yeah. But pistols are not easy to hit people with, right?
You need to train.
You would have to have training, and I know you're going. I understand that. So it's better actually just to de-escalate the system. Now we're going to have some callers calling to say that when you've got that person in your house killing your children and killing your wife, you're going to wish you had that gun, right? And I understand that, but I personally just can't do that when I have little kids running around the house who think these are Nerf guns, right? So that's the first thing. Target is reduce, and it seems like Alabama's solution has been to sort of like we can't fix these problems, so let's just arm everybody. Teachers have guns, people have guns.
Logic to that.
I mean, it's scary, but there was somebody around an AR weapon and open carry. Just to show that I can now do that. I'm allowed to carry anything. Right? Actually, it was in the news that there were young guys carrying around ARs.
It's crazy.
They just arrest us. So that's one issue. And then the other thing that you could target would be, I want to mention too, access to lethal means is increasing people shooting each other. It's also increasing rates of suicide as well, because when people make suicide attempts, a gun is the most lethal thing you could use. So we have to advise our patients if they lock those guns up, put them away, if they're already suffering from depression. Like that. And of course, there's the socioeconomic status of people, and then substance abuse. I want to mention that as well. So studies have shown people that are using substances are twice as likely to get financial crime. So, and then people suffering from conditions tend to use substances a lot. So that's another area of intervention. The substances are inhibiting people, whether they have a mental health condition or not. It's helpful to create violent crimes. Alcohol and marijuana are included in that, because if they're frequently using marijuana or frequently drinking alcohol, they're also
We'll come back with your last words. Dr. Safety and Lord, his friend here, Mr. Agnes. We'll be back.
Thank you. I'm texting Ezra. That's it.
We need more daddies. Why is nobody else? Yeah, so she doesn't have special people. I mean, white people. Proportionally, not like they do it.
I think there's probably and
March 1st.
So it's people having.
But proportionately, what do we do?
For some reason, that another one.
Only thing people make I don't understand that. Every week there's somebody doing something. And the school is free. It doesn't cost anything, but I'm from school costs $50. Something is almost important. Here's nothing. I get
That's my thing. But it does become political. That's the more conservative view. That maybe
everybody in the moment, whatever school
in Europe, I don't have that. And you let
probably good.
yeah, that's what we're doing here. So they got a little bit of exposure to what they made it deemed right? So it's like that only means nothing.
And even that, even depending on which degree is in.
And then if you don't get that, then you like you need a high school diploma to go to no, but they're going to require it because so many have a high school. Whereas in Europe, it's understood that you're not a good student by being you're done, and you go get a job, right? If you got a high school diploma, that means you're an excellent.
But I always say, the reason we get there is keeping out of it. In other words, if you have a degree, you're not going to get a job. If you don't have the degree, you're not a job.
That's the downside, right?
So the system, the education system is different.
But it's in India, isn't all school paid for? No, but but is everybody?
Nowadays,
and they're at the same level. Same here too, but
we're gonna come back when school starts. All right, I'm gonna give Dr. Sini the last word here, and I guess I'm gonna have you guys back when school starts. But then we have some ammunition. Sure. So, what's your last word, Doc? What do you see in the future?
Well, I didn't come with solutions, but some ideas, especially I liked that. So some ideas of areas for intervention, and I also forgot to mention that treating mental health is very important as well as worse. So that can reduce some of this as well. So there are definitely studies showing that when we treat mental health, that reduces chronic. I want to urge our listeners that if you are suffering from a condition, outpatient clinics are where you really get your long-term care. But if you're a danger to yourself, suicidal, homicidal, serious wasted sleep, and psychosis, get to the nearest ER or call 911 or 988 to the hotline so that they can get you.
I know that.
So 988 is 24 hours a day. And sometimes people like this because they want to talk to a therapist.
I'll talk radio, call me.
988, and you can call anytime. And just maybe you don't know if you need they can do a suicide risk assessment. So that's the national mental health hotline, crisis line.
All right, any number anybody can reach you by?
So I'm at Alabama Psychiatry, 234-239-2622. It's on University Court, right across off the University of Maryland.
Well. Yeah, let's do this when school starts. So I have some ammunition.
Alcoholic.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Y'all help me out. No, I never. No.
The flames of one of the largest wildfires in California. Northern California. Running across percent of cancers at an early and curable stage. It is not, however, believed to be as effective as colonoscopy in finding large polyps that can turn into cancer. Time running out for Vice President Harris to choose a candidate in her for the Oval Office. So Kennedy can go share CBS Mornings. It won't be her. I'm sure everyone is taking a few minutes to with her and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, another possible Harris candidate, as well as foreign Nicolas Maduro today's presidential election. Is even is a thing that they have been hearing nothing to say to be the last head-to-head matchup between the two. A glittering piece of Hollywood history has gone to the highest bidder. Steve Kathan has the details.
A Texas auction house has a gold bikini-style costume Carrie Fisher wore as Princess Leia while
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A second person wounded during the assassination attempt on former President Trump. He was quickly discharged from the hospital. The 74-year-old injured during the on July 13th. Considering the other man, 57-year-old David was discharged last week. One person, Corey Copper, was killed. Former President Donald Trump was grazed in the ear. A procession and funeral service were held for confidentiality on July 19th. CBS News. distress its mission. Number one, changes in words. Texas is number two on the list, followed by Tennessee, Maryland, and Georgia. Financially stressed people, CBS News.
I told me y'all changed shirts this year. Is that true? So I bought all those shirts last year for this year, and I ain't no good. So where do I get the orange shirts from? Okay. I think they told us it's gonna be white, so I want to buy white shirts. A gray or gray. It was probably gray or something. All right, now one of life. Okay, thank you. Mhm.
Prevention is key in safeguarding against tick and mosquito-borne diseases. For more information and tips on how to protect you and your family from these pests, visit our website at alabamapublichealth.gov. Again, visit our website at alabamapublichealth.gov.
Okay, we are back. I just learned that I got to get new shirt disease to a different color without telling you, brother. Okay, that's okay. We can do something. 860-14 is the number here. Now we give at the end. Listen, I found that to be quite interesting. I don't know if I'm all in, and everybody's got a psychological problem. problem. If you poor, you got problems wrong now. It's just, there's no, there's no, uh, there's no denying it. If you have a tough time coming, you have a tough time. You don't have money, you have a tough time. But it is not the end of things. There are probably scores of people who have been born in poverty and things of that nature that went out there and did a lot of great things. So sometimes you got to take lemons to make lemonade. 860-14 is the number you want to get talk to with on your mind. Come on, who's this? That's good. I saw that. Mm-hmm. I think that I, I really don't think it's worth it because the movies we put out, and I must admit, I like some of them, but the best ones are always about drugs and somebody getting killed. Gang members. For entertainment purposes, my mind understands that it is entertainment, but young folks, they And what they don't realize, a lot of these rappers don't really live the life that they talk about. Uh, Yeah, I don't quite get it, but and I saw the mayor whooping, I just don't know. It's about greed, and they know if they can. It depends on the type of conversation. And I saw the yeah. I mean, it depends on the conversation. And why can you guys only put out this kind of thing? Why not put out something positive or something like that? No, I'm with you about what starting here and going. I mean, I didn't hear. I saw them. I saw the video of it. I didn't listen to it. I thought it was more the same old junk that they all put out. And I just kept quickly went past it. But if the conversation, I'll have to find it. If the conversation is about can you do better? We like being entertained. I like being entertained. I mean, I like, but again, there's nothing positive in people getting shot and murdered. At least not in my mind, anyway. All right. Hey, appreciate it. Good morning. Let me ask you, outside of reading, writing, and arithmetic, on a day-to-day basis, how often do you think you use those other disciplines in your daily life? Mm-hmm. Okay. I just think, listen, if you take 12 years of school, take the 3 months out every year, that's 12 years. That's 3 years that you can actually get rid of that you don't need to go to school. Not 9 years of school would be sufficient. And everything else we do, we use it as fuel. And you know what? Somehow they got along. Somehow they get along. Mhm. And the other day, right? And the other day, 40% of all the jobs we do now will be handled by AI. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, again though, they like a couple years ago the math. Uh, I heard that Common Core math crap. I went to Dean's School. He was over at the Resurrection, and we were talking. Why do I need a 72 character solution to 8 times 3? Why? What? So they are making it more difficult than it has to be, and also they can remain relevant. Yeah, right. But I got to get. Yeah, but guess what? They found out it doesn't really work. I mean, 8 times 3. Why in the world do I need a 72 character answer? I don't. Okay. What they're doing, making sure they got a job. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, appreciate it. Good morning. Who's this? Yeah. Well, when you say left limit, when you say left behind, what do you mean? Yeah. But I don't. I mean, if you can read, write, do arithmetic, you are functionally able to exist in our country. And I blame that on the school. Yes, it is. But it's the only job in America when they fail, they blame us. It's their job to teach. We do fix it. We send them to school, right? What I just got done telling you, 40%. I just done 40% of all the jobs they say will be handled by AI. What workforce? You can't do that. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. The AI ain't gonna work. Yeah, that ain't, I hear you, man. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. That's good. All right, appreciate it. Good morning on there. But I think, I hear what you. I think we have lost the ability to get across to them that this is important. We we have lost now. We spend a lot of money on football. We spend a lot of money on basketball and baseball. But evidently we have not. And people want to play football and basketball. You know why? Because they know they can make a boatload of money if they make the team. Whereas, right. But what we haven't done, we haven't convinced them that life itself is a game, and if you want to play that game, then you need some of these skills. And we haven't convinced them of that. Yeah. But whatever you want to do, right, but whatever you want to do in this life, it takes discipline. We cannot overemphasize that you have to be disciplined to accomplish anything. And it's a word that public schools do not use. Yeah, and it's all, yeah. I appreciate it. And it's all about discipline. I don't know why is that word has been taken out of the lexicon of our language. You have to have discipline, whether you want to be a computer operator, an airborne ranger, a scientist, whatever it is you want to be, play on a basketball team, a football team. You don't win in life by not having discipline. You don't win. And it's a rarely ever hear an educator do. Oh, it's going to be all right. All you got to do is have desire. No crap. Take more than desire. You even take more than ability. It takes the ability, it takes the desire to do more than is asked of you. That is discipline and initiative. And when is the last, I was thinking about this. When is the last time you heard a school administrator use the word discipline? Hmm? You're right. 9:28 good morning. Good morning, who's this? That's you. Mhm. So, well, I don't believe you can take your gun unless you Well, I would have an idea, but the announcement I think is more that is lawfully owned. Right. Right. Yeah, most of them do. Maybe that's what it. Well, we didn't get into all of that in the press conference. But does it make any difference where they came from? Does it make any difference where they came from? I was in the army then, so I didn't think much. So why would we? So why would we do that? Why would we? Even if the train was sitting there, why would we go out there and take it up? Okay. Mm. 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 Okay. I'd say he wasn't very smart to say the gun to his gun. Okay. They pay the price. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. All right. Something to think about. You know, yeah, go ahead. Mm. Okay, appreciate it. It is 9:38 in the morning. Come on down here. Yeah, I don't care about it. Talk about something that matters. No, no, well, I don't care about, but they ought to put their foot in their mouth. I want to talk about Montgomery stuff. I want to talk about Montgomery stuff. I don't want to go to Washington, D.C. Yeah, okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Can you give me can you give me the audio where it says I want to be a dictator? No, no, no. I ain't talking about anybody can write. Wait a minute. Anybody can write. If the man said that, wait a minute. If the man said that, I ain't got at him. Well, listen. Send it to me. Send it to me. Wait a minute. Do you believe? Now, hold on. Think about it. Do you believe with over a million? With over a million. Okay, wait. And Project 2025 had nothing to do with Trump. Trump had nothing to do with coming up with that. And some of that stuff. Hey, let a brother talk. Some of the things on Project 2025 I actually agree with. Okay. Anyway, see you later. Okay, then. Good morning. Morning. I can hear you. Well, that certainly will help. Mm. Yep, I agree. That's part of the problem, right? That's a big part of the problem. But hey, what can I tell you? Hey, appreciate it. 860-1440 is the number here. Yeah, I don't really, the father's been in home. Although there are people that will argue with you. Well, I'm trying to figure out why J.D. Vance sent me an email and says, I want you to be with me. Now, I want the people in the world, he sent me an email and said, Kevin, I want you to be with me. I mean, what's up with that? Somebody giving that man my email address? I mean, really? That's what they did? He said, I want you to be with me. I mean, I didn't know he knew I existed. Sent me an email. Man, I tell you what, I feel special now. Anyway, now he needs to just slow his roll too, though. There's certain things he doesn't say that just absolutely don't make no sense. But I will listen. He's gonna be the VP, not the P. I ain't mad at him. He's young and impetuous. Still 39 years old, still kind of young. So he'll grow up. He'll get it. I mean, because he'll be all right. So let's take a break. 9:42 in the morning, and we'll come right. Well, let me take this call first before I go. Good morning. I'm tired. Why you? No, you always insulting me. I'm sick of you. You always insulting my military service. You always insulting me. Okay, one time a day is enough. We'll be back.
SFA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440.
A warm afternoon with humidity around highs in the low 90s. Scattered rain and thunderstorms are again in the forecast today, lingering into tonight. Lows will be in the 70s. Tuesday, carbon copy of today. Scattered rain and storms high in the 90s. Stay humid. Rain chances will become a bit more limited by mid to late week. And that's your First Alert forecast. I'm WSFA meteorologist Nick Gunter on News Radio 1440.
Let's get toned up, Montgomery. It's Matt Parsley from Budget Bar and Book Sales. If you're heading on vacation this year and need to lose some weight, I've got a weight loss solution. That means if your old ride is weighing you down, let's dump it. Because right now, you could drop that weight and drive a nicer, newer car for $8. That's right, $8 down. Yes, $8 down. It's not healthy to ride around town in a car you hate. You could ditch that old ride and drive for $8. Yes, $8 down. And if you have a trade, get up to $5 more than Kelly Blue Book for a car you hate. Now, typically, consider the food supply. 334-244-9777.
Hey, y'all, Lewis, the Capitol. Have a river cooking up that fresh seafood for you. Easy to get to. Get on I-65. That's that North Boulevard. Then take the Louisville Street exit. That's the first exit. Hit the bottom of the ramp. Turn right 3 times. Follow that to the end of the road. We've got an RV park, rent pontoon boats, and have a good time. Fresh seafood, good food. Come on down here, y'all. We'll be cooking for you. No show this Sunday, so come on and enjoy a good Sunday afternoon. Kicking eggs on the river.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
When someone drives up to your house, generally the first thing they see is your driveway, your invitation. Someday when you sell your home, your driveway will be the first to speak for how well you've maintained this investment. Hi, this is Tom Latham with Penny Earned and Concrete Technologies. Call us today for all of your concrete needs, your driveway and your swimming pool, as well as complete outdoor living areas, fire pits, fireplaces, stamped and patterned patios, retainer walls, and drainage systems to complete the outdoor living area. Our team's been together for many years, and our goal is to be the best. We have ideas to share and hundreds of pictures on Facebook posted for your viewing. For years, you've seen our trucks in your streets and our signs in your neighbors' yards. Isn't it time you called 334-284-9292? And do follow us on Facebook for hundreds of pictures of current and past projects. Call Penny Earn today, 334-284-9292. 334-284-9292.
Penny Earn Concrete, beautiful changes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Do you want to know the secret to baby brain development? It's you. Your baby's brain develops rapidly in her first few years. On baby brain development, talk with your pediatrician or visit healthychildren.org.
My job, finances, I think it's so crazy. I just want to be in control. With Sam, I can.
Sam is Smart About Money, a free online resource from the nonprofit National Endowment for Financial Education. Get empowered. Visit SamOnCaring.org.
Alexa smart speakers are great because you don't have to turn a dial or push a button to listen to News Radio 1440. Just say, Alexa, play News Radio 1440.
I'm on it.
All right, before I go back to the phone, see, I've been looking for this Trump said I want to be a dictator. Now, he was hyperbolous, but here's what he said. I can live with that. Yeah, I can live with that. I agree with him on that one. You said day one. I can live with day one. Okay, I'm good. We're good. I can live with that. Yeah, yeah. The way they treated that man, I'd go through there and clean up every office there is. Okay then. Good morning, you on air. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah. It's right. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And forget this 16-year-old crap. You old enough to go out and get a gun, then you old enough to be treated like an adult. Yeah. Well, I don't know about seven now. I don't know about seven. I don't know about seven, but 16 surely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if a guy's 7 years old though, his parents and grown people around him have taught him that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. It is 9:50 in the morning. Good morning. Who's this? Yeah, that's you. Yeah, I saw it. Hmm. Yeah. And that does that mean, wait a minute, does that mean we gotta use their stuff? Hmm. Hmm. Because they're crooks. Well, who else bought them? Well, if you don't have people buying it, you can't sell it. Exactly. Right. But they're crooks. They do bad things. Okay. At least it looked like a military truck. Hmm. Hmm. Would I do what? No, I wouldn't. Of course not. Well, first of all, it's wrong. Secondly, it's probably illegal. And thirdly, it's going to cause hell in the community. Because it's folks that look like, wait a minute, across this nation right now, it is only people that look like me that are preponderance of the issue when it comes to guns. Don't take the guns. Don't take them. Don't take them. Don't. Well, first of all, it's illegal to bring them. It's, but don't take them. Well, we can make excuses. Or okay, okay. Listen, let me ask you something. Again, they're wrong. Everybody, wait. Everybody knows if you bring guns, you're doing wrong. Everybody knows that. It's obvious. Well, again, don't take them. Probably for confusion and chaos. But we don't have to do it, my brother, because somebody brings you. I agree with you, but they bringing them. People bring them. I agree with you. But either way it go, we've seen people get killed with knives. Okay. Well, that's not gonna happen. We bringing them. If you can find an idiot to take it, okay. I got to run. I can't help you on that one. Good morning, on air. Fine, fine. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm. All right. All right. Appreciate it. Good morning on there. It was hyperbole. It was hyperbole. Do you know what hyperbole is? It means a sense of exaggeration. Amen. Okay. I played the one I want. Yeah, first of all, here somebody a guy named Stephen Covey said that he said, I am not a product of my circumstances, I'm a product of my decisions. Aren't we all? So if somebody brings guns to your community, that's your circumstance. But your decision to take them and use them, that's on you. Good morning. Yes. Mm-hmm. Not at the moment, but I appreciate your call. Okay then. Uh, H at the that's a well, sooner or later, our number comes up on the spin wheel. 9:57 in the morning. If you got to be there by 10 o'clock, you have exactly 3 minutes by which to arrive. So, am I a victim of my? Am I a product of my circumstances or a product of my decisions? Okay, listen. They were selling guns when I was coming up, guns and knives and all that kind of stuff. I didn't buy none of that crap. First of all, I didn't have no money. And secondarily, if I wanted to, the only thing I was guilty of is stealing a 10-speed. And I feel bad about that now, too. After all these years, I should. I got about 3 or 4 of them, I think. But I felt bad about that. I felt bad about that for years. But I don't want to go home because I go back to South Bend and say it was me. They might want the money back. So I don't know. I don't even remember. Matter of fact, I don't even know my own way around my hometown. I was home a few years ago. I couldn't even figure out where my high school. Well, I found my high school, John Adams. I found my high school, and that's always good. But I couldn't find the rest of the stuff. Anyway, so the whole "I'm a dictator" thing, that's what we call hyperbole. Hyperbole. He was using hyperbole. Okay, and I know if you don't know what hyperbole is, that's just the way it goes. Well, time's up. So we got to get out of here and hope this Monday. It feels like a Monday right now too. It feels like a Monday. Hopefully tomorrow will be more motivated.
News Radio 1440.